Hey, and welcome to 2022. Josh and I are back. We're excited about all the fun people we met in 2021, and we hope you had a good holiday season. We figured we'd start things off by talking about alignment. That's a topic that's really straightforward and not confusing at all, right, Josh?
Yeah, I'm really happy to be talking about alignment actually, because I have a story about that. Recently I was driving on my way home. I was almost home. Hit a giant pothole, like huge, and lost my both my driver's side tires popped. Um, so I had to get two new tires and an alignment change. So it sucked, but alignments, it's important.
It is important.
Hey everybody, welcome back to J&J Tabletop. It is really nice to see you again. If you forgot, I'm Josh, this is Jake, and we are J&J Tabletop. And today we have a video. We're going to be talking about something that a lot of people really get hung up on, right? Alignment.
Yeah,
It's like one of those things, like it's supposed to help, but everybody seems to argue about it and feel some type of way. What do you think about that?
well, first off, people do be arguing, though. And this is just another excuse to do it. But if you take a quick look at its like history in Dungeons and Dragons, it used to mean a lot more than it does. So sometimes anytime you have a topic that's like that, it can be very vehemently debated and like it's got deep roots in something that has grown. So you're absolutely right, Josh. Alignment, it's to me, it's a role playing tool that is supposed to enhance your game and not make it suck. So like if you're at your table and this alignment thing just seems weird and you don't understand why people are making a big deal about it, that's fine. It's just something that should help guide decision making in game. It's not something that like another player or another person at the table should be smacking you over the head with, like, "Well, you're supposed to be lawful good. You can't do this thing." Like that's no, that makes your game suck.
It's funny too, because right, because like a lot of the time for me, when I think about alignment, what I hear in the back of my head or what I envision, if you will, I'll have a flashback to playing at the table and the paladin or whoever who's supposed to be good does something, and someone else is like, "Uh, really? Your lawful good
Yes.
paladin
Yeah.
is going to try to shake down the barkeep for a couple dollars less for the night, like that kind of thing."
Yep.
It's like, yes, really, you're not bound by it. It's just supposed to help, right?
Absolutely. If it's not helping your game, throw it away. That's true of pretty much anything when it comes to this stuff.
So you mentioned quickly that it's like a player tool, right? For character building, that kind of stuff. Does alignment have a role for the DM as well, aside from
Oh,
just
yeah.
character things?
Well, besides NPCs, which are pretty foundational to your game, monsters have alignment too. Even monsters that may be less intelligent or more intelligent, like dragons. Dragons have a very diverse array of alignment, and it's nice to have a framework to help understand what I would call their world view. Like, what does this character's ideal world look like? And whether that's a monster, a lich, just some rando on the street that you encounter, it helps just see the kinds of things they'd like to accomplish. And anytime you understand someone's motivations, role playing becomes that much easier.
And it's the same thing that we mentioned before is true, where you're not bound to that either. But it's especially helpful if you just whether you have a random table or something, and if you like rolled like a four and it's like goblins, and you're like, all right, what would a goblin do if like for whatever reason you don't know what goblins would do, then you have it there, and you're just like, okay, all right, well they're evil, they're lawful evil, they're chaotic, blah blah blah. It gives you the framework, and if you made your bad guy like an NPC or something like that, you don't have to use that. They could be whatever they want, or they could be good. Um, it's just something there, I think, especially to help you if you don't really know a lot about that monster and you don't really have plans for it. It's just kind of something you're like, this looks cool, let me use it.
Oh yeah,
Um,
you can definitely go against type if you will, because there are some rules I think that you should hold fast to. But like, I love taking, like say, this is a blue dragon, but guess what? They're not lawful evil. They're this one's neutral good for some reason, and it's like the guy in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the elf that wanted to be a dentist instead of make toys. Like, it's just, that's a great story to tell. So roll with that.
You know what else you could do? This is a blue dragon, but it does ice damage instead of lightning.
Well, that's just crazy, Josh. I don't know why you would do something. Actually, that sounds like a fun idea, and it would be another fun story to tell, like Happy Feet, the dancing penguin.
Oh my gosh. So we've talked about some player examples. We've talked about what it's used for and everything. But like, what what is it? What kind of
Yeah,
options do you have when you're choosing alignment, and what does that even really mean?
it's kind of like this. I imagine like an x-axis. You have on one of them is law and chaos, and on the other one is good and evil. And I think it's very easy to look at alignment narrowly and think like if someone is lawful neutral, they are this and they have this value system in its full capacity. And I like to look at it a little different. What does it look like to your character or whoever you're role playing when those two values might seem to conflict? I like to think of someone who's like lawful good is like, say, like Leslie Nope. Ron Swanson might be like chaotic good. What would Leslie Nope do if, like, say, like a government rule wasn't good or wouldn't achieve something good in her opinion? Her natural inclination would be, of course, let's go through the system and try and change the rule. But that doesn't always work. So, what does she choose? Does she follow the rule or does she break the rule to do something good? And I think that's the kind of question that I like to do and I like to ask myself when I'm making my characters. And that's kind of it's just something that I feel like will enhance some of the depth of your role playing.
It's like a written in moral quandary where like ideals, bonds, traits, all all that kind of stuff aside, just at the base level of alignment, put those two against each other and not even including any of the other things you believe, like you're
Yeah.
already struggling.
Yeah. And then you have, like neutrals kind of like right in the middle of everything. I mean, that's kind of obvious, but like druids back in the history of Dungeons and Dragons used to have to be true neutral, which was just like neutral, neutral, or just neutral, however many neutrals you want to throw in there. That was their base alignment system. And that was kind of like a natural development of things. Like, maybe it might be like indifference in a way, but it also might just be like, I'm not going to interfere with how this nature is developing because nature is right here. So I developed this kind of system that helps me kind of categorize how, like, say, an NPC or a character may feel about some of the values that we're discussing here in this video.
So if you feel strongly about how you feel about this video and how much you like it, then maybe drop us a like and hit the subscribe button because we actually do videos here every week on how you could get the most out of your tabletop RPG games. So if you like this, you think this helped, and you want more of that, hit the subscribe button, check out our past videos because there's tons there. But Jake, I really like this idea here and why don't you tell me more about this kind of chart that you made and how
Sure.
that works and how that can help us make our characters and NPCs?
If you take one of the values, like, say, chaos and freedom, I have the way a character may feel about this everywhere from fanatical, where they're like, nothing else matters but furthering this value and spreading it across the world, down to unrelenting hatred, like, nothing else matters but stopping that from happening. In the middle would be like indifferent, moving towards fanatical. You have friendly, we might take like minor risks to see that move forward. Passionate is like they kind of are pretty active in making this happen. They probably take major risks of some kind. They may or may not risk their life depending on, maybe other factors in their personality, but they probably also won't risk the lives of others, again, depending on some of those alignment systems. And then if you're moving from indifferent down to unrelenting hatred, it's just kind of flip it.
So the way that you set that up, I actually really like that. And typically, I'm not a person who loves the alignment system that much. It's not that I don't like it. I just personally, the way that I make characters and the way that I make NPCs, it just doesn't end up really being a factor in what I'm thinking about. And I understand that it is helpful and definitely can be helpful for a lot, if not most people.
Yeah.
um, I've just always kind of skipped right past it and gone to like character traits and things like that. But even the way that you kind of have that, fanatical, passionate, friendly, indifferent, unfriendly, hostile, unrelenting hatred, it almost reminds me of King Arthur Pendragon, which is like a
Okay.
tabletop RPG specifically for Arthurian legend and that kind of stuff. And I've never played it, but I bought the books a long time ago and kind of like looked at it and read a lot on it, watched videos on it, that whole thing. The way they handle that, like they don't have a specific alignment, but they'll have like passions and personality traits, and their personality traits might be like chaste versus lustful, energetic versus lazy, forgiving, vengeful, generous, selfish, like honest,
Sure.
deceitful, like so on. But you do have like a sort of scale like that,
It's
right?
a
Where you might
spectrum.
be,
It's not
yeah,
this like hard, people don't fit in boxes the way like the way you want to do it, right? So most like political values, I mean, I'm not going to talk about politics here, but like you have people that are like extreme one way or the other, but the vast majority of people are somewhere kind of in the middle. And yes, they may share that belief, but do they share it to the level that someone else does? That's that's how you make your games come alive to me.
yeah, I totally agree. There are people who are the polar opposites, people somewhere in the middle, and that kind of thing. But with the Pendragon system, it's like if you're someone who's known as being honest, and you have a moment where your honesty is questioned, right? You have to roll for it, and then there's this specific number, and you have to beat it. And if you don't make the roll, then everything is questioned, and it's this very crunchy number system. And for some reason, I love that and I love ignoring alignment, but I'm not the biggest fan of just alignment just as just a
Yeah.
thing. Like
I understand that. I mean, like if you're just like some people love, you know, crazy gear maintenance, like my gear is falling apart, my this and that. And then some people like games that are a little simpler, like, hey, I found this sword. I really don't care that I need to take a whetstone and sharpen it every night after an day of adventuring. Like, I totally get it. But like I don't know. I like to look at something like if a character is lawful good, usually the meme is like they're lawful stupid, right? Like that's what they do. And okay, I get it. But that might be someone who's like fanatical lawful, fanatical good. Yeah, that is lawful stupid. But what if someone is just like friendly lawful, passionate good? That feels like there's a little bit more like they're going to try and follow the rules because they think like there's an element of having like law and order that is important to achieving good, but good is the end, and law may be the means to that end. And there's just, I don't know, to me, when I think of it that way and I break it down in this manner, it just makes me feel like the world is more real and that the people in it feel more real. And I like role playing in my games. I like it when my DM presents a situation or I stumble into a situation because of things I did that makes me have to figure out like what would my character want to do in this situation or how would they feel about something. I don't know, that adds depth to me.
and regardless of really where you stand on whether you prefer to use alignment or prefer not to use alignment, it is hard to argue against that it can be useful and
And that's
specifically
it.
that it yeah that's that's it. We said in the beginning of the video, we'll say it again, as we say about most topics and most game mechanics. If it works for you, use it, and if it doesn't, then lose it. You know, it's that's all it is. But if you have any specific things that you want to ask, or just opinions, strong opinions, or whatever on alignment, throw them in the comments because we'd love to hear about that and continue the conversation. Or if you've used like Pendragon maybe and you want to talk about that whole crazy system, I love talking about that kind of ridiculous stuff. So you should also just check out our Discord because we talk about all those things all the time. We really are really happy to be back here in the new year. We hope that 2021 was a great year for you, and I hope that 2022 will be even better. So, see you on the next one, and hopefully, we'll see you in Discord.
No, I mean it's not exactly the kind of topic that you could just like this is what a lawful good character is. This is what a lawful neutral character is. You know, it's like that's you can't paint with that broad of a stroke because like we said,
Well, actually, I
you know,
think what you did was chaotic. So you think you're neutral, but you're actually chaotic. So just
people
I
love
just
to be
have it as a
told what
mark
they are.
against you. Just
Yeah.
you
Yep.
fix it for next time.
Yep.
Okay.
People
All
love
right.
to be told what they are. It's great.
Also, you forgot the Cheetos, so that's another mark against you.
Well, that one I'll give you that one.